Check it, everybody. This is a legendary episode of the Moonman Experience. A lot of people might have thought we were sparring, but I'd say we were just getting down to brass tacks. I got Bomber from one of the most legendary, prominent Star Atlas guilds in the game. So, Bomber, tell them who you are, tell them what you're about, and let's get straight into how crazy this game is going to be.
Yeah, thanks for hosting me, Moonman. My name is Bomber. I am the leader and founder of Skull and Bones, Star Atlas' first and largest piracy exclusive guild.
Yes, 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 yes. We were talking in the chat with Newt and Santi, and it got pretty crazy. And I think we were getting down to what needed to be asked when it comes to how pirate guilds are going to run, what they're going to do inside of the game. And I think people need to hear this type of content and not hear the sugar coated version of what Star Atlas might be, but what it probably won't be. So tell me why you started the Pirate Guild and why this is your MO.
So, just to sort of allude back to the conversation we had last Wednesday, I believe, right, at the Star Atlas bonfire with Newt. Thanks to Newt. Shout
Yep,
out to
yep.
you, homie. Penguin
Shout out
fam.
to Newt.
So yeah. So just to kind of follow what I was saying, then the reason I got into just to go all the way back, I got into Star Atlas from the Radium IDO. I was interested in just trading, as like everyone else who's familiar with crypto prior. Once I did my due diligence on the token itself, right after the day flip, I was like, wow, actually, this project seems pretty fucking legit. So did some more research, hopped in the Discord, like any DGen, and I just kind of fell in the rabbit hole. Once I fell in that rabbit hole and realized, the
Yep.
potential of this game and just how incredible this sort of metaverse environment can be, this full 3D immersive sort of platform for users to engage and interact. I was captivated. So when I got to the Discord, you go through all the routes and it says go pick your role. And I was looking at all the roles and I was like, what do I like? Well, if anyone
Hmm.
knows me, I've been a pirate through and through my whole life. I've always loved it, the lore, the freedom, everything about it is just me. So that just hit me right off the bat. Now, what is the actual role of a pirate I have to do? That also fits well with what I do in gaming. I've always been a player versus player, a PvPer, PKer, however you want to say it in all the different games. That is just what gets me going in the game. I do enjoy playing the computer, of course, but at a certain point, I don't really doesn't get me off like killing a real player. So
Yeah.
that's really the essence of
Facts.
why I lean I lean towards piracy. Was it
Yeah.
is nothing to do with stealing assets from someone. That happens to just be the secondary byproduct of the action. For
Mhm.
me, it has more to do with the actual combat. And piracy is a byproduct of combat. If you lose, your shit's mine. So that's just
Yeah.
how it works, right? Um, we really had no intention to be the sense of like maliciously stealing from people. Look, I understand these are real dollars, but it wouldn't be in the game if there wasn't a reason for it. So I don't think what we're doing is any bit wrong. It's definitely
No, not at all.
necessary.
It's part of the
Um,
game.
yeah, and our ethos, like I said, just to be clear with everyone, it is not to specifically rob people of their hard-earned money. It is to strictly play the game as designed. We are just the antithesis, right? We are the bad guys, I guess you could say, to some, and good guys to others. But that's really our role, right? More of a warfaring sort of guild.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. And I think it just comes down to if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. If you can't afford to lose assets in the, high risk zone, then you probably just want to stay out of that area. I know with like the Final Frontier, we know we're gonna have to take some assets. We know we're gonna have to protect some assets, but that's what comes with being in high risk, and it sounds like you're just doing what the high risk is meant to do. So yeah, man, maybe dig a little bit deeper into the Pirate Guild, Skull and Bones. Tell us a little bit about it and why you started it, and how's it going nowadays.
So I guess let's start with the first question, which would be, I guess you said discuss piracy a little more.
Yeah,
Is that
let's do
accurate?
it. Yeah,
Okay,
got a little bit
so
of
on the
time.
first topic of piracy, how I view it going down is less actually just roaming bandits. I think that's what you're going to see the NPC. I believe they're called the Jorviks, right?
Hmm.
That is certainly going to be your NPC pirate fleet that you're going to have to just deal with, in general. Not concerned with them. What we are essentially is more or less a guild designed specifically to operate in deep space. right? Now, that just gives us an advantage over other guilds. Doesn't mean that they can't go there, that it's not interesting to them or whatever. It's just our MO is specifically for Deep Space.
What
And that
faction are
being
you
said,
guys?
I'm sorry, what
What
faction are
faction?
we?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
we are, and I'll make this very clear. We are
yeah.
Mud exclusive
Okay,
for now, but
cool, cool.
for the very foreseeable future. And hey, that just comes back to my, I guess to not deviate too far, but going back to who I am as a gamer, I am an extreme min maxer when it comes to any RPG, like
Okay.
very min max. If anyone's played Path of Exile or the like, they know what I'm talking about. But when I was going through the stats, if you want to do player versus player, and you are fighting against the mud and you ran a simulation 50 times, if they have stronger firepower than you, they're going to win more than 50% of the time. And that, for me, is enough of a decision to pick that. So that, in by
Exactly.
and large, was one of the largest decisions for our selection. Um, the travel distance was another big bonus as we are deep space focused. So those were the two reasons why we are mud. We are not going to do another faction at present, maybe in the very long future. But I think we would actually prefer to see other guilds step up, which I think I've spoken about before. Luckily, we have Dark. They have come up to um, combat the Ooster hard zone or what's it called, high risk zone.
Yeah.
And we're still looking for, and I hope someone in this video fucking gets inspired to start the Oni guild because we
Yeah.
need an Oni piracy guild. There is none. I repeat, there is no Oni pirates yet, which is weird because every fucking article was talking about Oni pirates, and there are no
Really.
Oni pirates, which is
Yeah.
funny.
Okay.
But either
Okay.
way, so that's essentially going a little off tangent. Back to how the guild
Totally
started,
fine.
reason for it, etc. So I got into Star Atlas, right? Jumped in the Discord,
Mm-hmm.
etc. Already told you. Went and bought my ship. Had someone explain to me how to go through all the steps. And one of the dudes I met, he was starting his own guild. It was a mercenary guild at the time, and I told him specifically, I was like, "Hey, look, I'm down to help you build it, but I would really like to do my own thing and be like a pirate guild." I knew from the start I wanted to do pirates, right? Like
Right.
fucking 5 minutes in, I'm like, "Okay, space pirate, it's happening." So I started building a guild with this other guy, and it turned out we just didn't get along. There was a lot of disconnect, and a lot of the members didn't like sort of the route he was taking.
Mm-hmm.
So I essentially took the members that I recruited and split off and started Skull and Bones. We could call it a mutiny, I guess you could say, since that
Yeah, I
guild was
like that
all.
this is already happening so early. This is dope.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Skull and Bones started, if everyone doesn't know, Skull and Bones started with a mutiny.
Yeah.
Being
Sick.
we closed a mercenary guild and opened up the pirate guild. And like I said, this was no bad blood to the other guild leader. If he is listening to this, it just was just a non-alignment of our views. Like that was really it.
It
But
happens.
Skull and Bones started that way, and as I mentioned, we were strictly in the beginning as pirates, and since the beginning of our growth, we've expanded to much larger views. Not that those weren't there originally; it was just we were hyper focused. So originally, we were recruiting PvPers, raiders, etc., bounty hunters. Now we've sort of opened the doors since we have a lot larger of a structure. We have a much stronger base of players that we are opening different sort of avenues and routes to make our guild larger. And what I mean by that is in the sense of we're not only going to be doing player versus player or piracy, etc. We have a full-fledged interior design and logistics system set up to be operating with the top tier guilds as well. So it's not like we're just linearly saying, "Hey, join our crew, you go fight." No, that is not what's happening. There's a
Right.
very in-depth selection process of what you want to do, and we're not forcing anyone to do anything, right? Because piracy is about freedom. If anyone told you what the fuck to do, just leave our server then, because that shouldn't be happening. Because it really is about what you really want to do, and we don't want to limit anyone on what they can and can't do. It's more or less they just have to follow the 5 simple rules we got, right? That's really it. Um, so the guild's really grown from being known as like knock around pirates in the Discord chat to now being the pirates, right? And now we're the first pirates, and now we're sort of leading by example to these other pirates, which is great. That they can kind of look up to us. I've seen a couple other new ones that have spawned. Shout out to the newly formed Mano Negra. I will give them a shout out here. They were a Hispanic pirate guild. They
Mm-hmm.
just formed. But it is great to see that people are now not shrugging us off. Because I will say, in the first, I would say, month of the Discord of me being in there bullshitting about pirates, I was just laughed at for sure, which is fine. I don't mind. But now we're taking it a little more seriously, and I'm happy the game is recognizing that it actually will be an important force in the game. I think
Mm-hmm.
things that we've talked about, right, regarding trade, risk, interest to do certain activities, it's all one and the same there. So
Yeah, I could see why people would laugh in the beginning because in a sense, most people think about logistics and building and mining and sharing resources and trying to connect with other guilds and build relationships. So when you say, hey, I'm going to be the person that starts a guild and takes from other people or does things that a pirate does or stands for freedom in the way you've, kind of set up those morals, people go, that's stupid. What they don't understand is that there's actually a lot of people that want to do that type of role. So really, it was only a matter of time that it came together, and people find a structured home in your guild or. The other one you just mentioned, and some of the other ones that are coming up, except for obviously these Onis, no pirates in the Onis, and like you said, he said, "Hey, somebody build that. Come on, we need that sector, that side of the faction or that side of the map, covered as well." But yeah, it was only a matter of time before that came together, right? I mean, I think it's one of the most popular things that people want to do, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to pirates. It's bounty hunters, pirates,
yeah.
builders. You know what I mean? It's right up at the top. It just needed to be organized,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, and even
yeah,
structure and common. People need to see that other people are interested, right?
right.
I wasn't afraid to be the first in the door. I'm sure there might have been someone else, but to my knowledge, I was really the first
Yeah,
vocal.
there's probably a lot of people that were scared to speak up and say, "Hey, I'm going to be a pirate," because people immediately go to, "Oh, you're the enemy," right? So nobody wants to
Yeah,
necessarily be the enemy. So they needed
and
a
like, and like
leader.
and like I mentioned, we're not necessarily an enemy, right? Like, and just
Yeah,
as you mentioned, guilds have mining structure, development, ship manufacturing alliances. We have all of the same,
you're
right?
gonna have to. Yeah.
It's just a different ethos to the other ones, right? We just don't alliance with the same alliances as everyone else does.
Hmm.
It's essentially saying we're just playing the game different than you. That's really it.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong. There's safe and there's not safe, but those are both inherent to the game. So it's not like we're doing anything out of the ordinary here.
Some might say you're more honest. You
I would
know,
agree.
in a sense of, I think all guilds are actually going to be taking from others. You're just publicly
Yeah.
admitting that you're going to be doing that. I don't know. There's always two sides to the coin.
Yep. You raise a very good point. It will be interesting to see the flop of PR coming from guilds after the fact.
Hmm.
Prior and after, I'm very curious to see what happens with the images for sure. All I
Uh,
do know is our image will be the same. So
yeah. Let me
people
ask you
should be
this.
expecting this.
Did you ever get into EVE Online and how crazy that game got, or read some stories, or listened to any books, or read any, or you come from a,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, yes and no. I've never played Eve. I've been
okay,
told a lot about it.
mm,
I was given a lot of advice by former Eve players on how the Pirates absolutely broke that game, and I've certainly taken it to heart, included it into some of our plans, which
okay,
we will not disclose. But I think what I have heard the most from that game was essentially that Pirates were so critical to the game that it almost wasn't the same without them. That was the
mm,
advice I got.
okay.
Well, I'm curious to hear what you got or what you've played, what you experienced, anything.
Yeah, I've played a little bit of the game. I've got some hours into it, nothing crazy. But I've done my research, and I'm still doing research to see how teams were formed, how people handled espionage, how people handled shipbuilding, how people handled relationships, how people handled just the ecosystem as a whole. Uh,
Hmm.
I believe it's a one of one copy of what Star Atlas is going to be. I think it's going to be very dangerous. You're going to have to keep an eye out on your friends. You're going to have to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. I think you're going to have people that you can trust. And there's a different scale at which Star Atlas is going to be operating under, which is real money, real assets. Obviously,
Yep.
Eve, you do put real money into it, but not at this level. Starting out, I don't think, if we take it back to 2003 when Eve started to 2021 when Star Atlas starts, I do not believe that they had players putting this much money in and this many in-game assets. Obviously, the game hasn't come out yet, but it's a different game, but it's of the same, and it might
Well,
actually
it's
get
reality.
worse. I don't know, so
I don't necessarily say it's not worse. I think what you're really trying to say is it's just gonna more mirror reality than you'd really like.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
really, the human nature is exactly the same, right?
Mhm.
If that's what you're alluding to, it's nothing different.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Someone that needs
Human
money
nature
is
is going
going
to
to
be
do
definitely the
something.
same. Go ahead. Sorry.
It might even be worse because you're hidden behind a screen, to be actually honest.
Yeah.
Like people might do actions that they would rather not do in person, right? In the game. That is certainly possible.
Of course.
And
Of
I'm
course.
expecting that. I'm definitely expecting that in this game. I mean, we are talking, this game has the potential already as is to provide income for people. I mean, if you
Hmm.
if you follow any of the other sort of scholarship games, which are nowhere near this sort of scale, those provided actual jobs and income for many people, right? Like if you are doing something in the game that can harm or damage the reality of someone, like the actual reality of someone else, there could be ramifications. And what those are, we don't know. It's going to be a very interesting social experiment. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
It will be quite interesting.
I don't think everything about Star Atlas is going to be bad. Obviously, it's not. You know
No.
what I mean? There is going to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing, beautiful things that happen in this
Yeah.
game, and it's going to change people's financial life. It's going to, you're going to be able to meet so many good friends, and you know what I mean. But I just look at it from, I get myself prepared for the battle, the combat, because Final Frontier. Skull and Bones. We plan on being in high risk zone. That's where we plan on playing. So we're not going to necessarily get the fruitful, beautiful sunshine, cupcakes, roses. We're not going to get that side of things. We're out here doing war. We're going to be immersed in the war and the conflicts and the relationships and money making and every once in a while maybe we'll enjoy the nicer things in medium and low risk zone, right? That'll be fun, but we want some more, man. We're about combat. We want that PvP, PvE. If you find a new planet and there's aliens on it, because we know that's going to happen. There's going to be species and races out there that you're going to have to battle, maybe for a planet that you discovered, but nobody else has found. So it's not a PvP situation; it's a PvE. So that's going to be more our realm, so to say. So that's, I speak to these people that are listening that are going to be involved in this type of battle. So yeah.
Yeah, and also just to clarify, well, 2 points just I like to touch on. One would be
Hmm.
when you were like, you need to have people you can trust. Something I'm very fortunate and proud to say is of Skull and Bones is we have one of the. I know everyone. It's cliche to say, but we have such a strong core community of very intellectual people who are willing to help and are truly interested in the benefit of the guild. And I think that really came from our ethos, right? Of all for one and one for all.
Hmm.
We were never an investment tool, but it's become that for some people. So it really is the camaraderie that's driving this ship. And especially given that we are player versus player, as you just mentioned,
Right.
you know, there has to be a trust. If there is not, there is no room for you here because you could just turn around and give our position away to another guild. You can fire your weapons at us within space, right? Like there's a million options you could do of betrayal. So trust is going to be the strongest currency of this game, I believe, would be trust.
One hundred
And those
percent.
are, and these relationships are forged now, right? Like between us, between Newt and I, between, the leader of Heim and I, these
Yeah.
sorts of leadership um, developments, I think, are going to be critical to the end game when you have, let's say 2, 3 years from now, right? The main guilds now are very large and we sit atop of a massive political structure of everyone interacting. So I do
Yeah.
think that is important, certainly. Second thing I would like to touch on to
Hmm.
clarify, we are a high risk zone specific guild, but that does not mean we are not going to be doing things in the other zones. We
Of
have
course.
a good amount of players that still are interested in a safe haven to be a pirate. And I'm not going to tell someone they can't do that. So they'll be in the low risk zone or no risk zone doing regular activities like everyone else. And like I mentioned, we have a structure to accommodate those players if they don't want to do PvP. Because look, not everyone is a great, player versus player. It takes a lot of hand eye coordination, and some people just aren't interested in it. But they
Of
still want to be a
course.
pirate and they want to contribute. So there are lots of roles available, whether it be from we're looking for a PR person or a social media manager to we have people designing um, ships or miners or farmers, whatever you want to be, as long as your heart is searching for freedom and camaraderie and trust, then that is really where you can find a home there. So just wanted to clarify that for all the viewers or listeners rather that are interested in being a pirate but were hesitant to because they don't want to fight. There are spaces for you. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys got a good thing going. I know I joined the Discord and it looks very, it's functioning well. I think you guys got things set up the right way. Obviously, I imagine some channels are not viewable by myself and others that are actually not in the guild. But that goes with all guilds, right? And that's how it should be. Um, I think you guys got a good thing going over there, and I'm interested in seeing how this whole metaverse, this Star Atlas metaverse, really plays out, and once the first good relationship or agreement goes down, what happens when the first bad one goes down and somebody crosses somebody. I'm just looking forward to seeing how things play out and how good things are able to how good relationships are able to sustain themselves in a battle. And
Wartime
it's
environment.
yeah, exactly. I just want to see how things actually play out, and who's being truthful, who's actually got different people's backs, who is there to not trust, and I just want to see the whole game play out. And then especially I want to see on my team the final frontier, the IQ of some of these gamers that we've brought in. This is why we're playing games like Eve, Stellaris,
Mhm.
Elite Dangerous. We're trying to figure out the IQ of players
Yep.
out there in
Yeah,
battle. Yeah.
definitely necessary. Especially Elite Dangerous for us. That is a big tell. if they want to
Facts.
shoot you down, that is a pretty big tell. And now that you bring that up, I would love. I hope maybe the Armana group will do it. But
Hmm.
now that you mention how much shit's gonna go down in this universe, we
Yeah.
need like a Star Atlas news team because I'm not gonna be able to keep up with everything. I want to log in
Oh,
the
there's
game
gonna
and
be
be
a
like, let me
lot.
get my news. What the hell happened between Oni and Mud today? I
Well,
think that I think someone needs to get in on that
yeah. I
whenever
mean,
that.
I've told Aaron. I've told him. Atlas Theory. I've told him, hey, like, we need like 40 different crews of like people that don't do anything but like free cam, or they just take their
News.
ship, and some type of identification in game that
Like a
allows us
reporter.
to know that, like, don't shoot those people, they're literally just camera crews. And so
Yeah.
when you see yeah, like, some maybe Star Atlas can work something into the game that, like, they can't, like, some type of code that's, makes the ship unable to shoot or be destroyed, and what they can do is just be on the outskirts of a battle to
That's
watch.
pretty much because that would make it too busted because then you can just use them to spy on people with
You
no
could,
recourse.
yeah, true. But something that would
I
be
think it would be more or less
nice.
like I feel like it would be a code if there was possible. It'd be like when I don't know how the targeting system's gonna work,
Hmm.
fighting system's gonna work, anything's gonna work like
Yeah.
anyone else. I wish I did. But let's say if you targeted them, maybe a warning would pop up.
Yeah.
It would prevent you from shooting them. But I
Correct.
don't want to make anything busted because it would be
Yeah.
abused. You tell me something. There's a ship that can't be shot at. I can just leave it somewhere. That to me is a buoy. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
stick that next to any guild. Just try to see what they're doing.
You make a good point. You make a good point.
Yeah, but I like
And
what you're saying. Though I think a camera crew or some
some
sort of
yeah, some type of
well, it would be
camera crew,
great.
because this
And
shit needs to be seen. This is
yeah,
some shit
for
that needs to
sure.
be seen.
I want to see it again. I want to relive that
Hell
shit.
yeah.
Like
Yes.
I'm sure people would tune in. Look, I'm just gonna let's theory crap this a little bit. Let's
Let's do
say
it.
3 years from now, Skull and Bones goes to war with another
Uh-huh.
person. I have a strong suspicion we would have a lot of people interesting to watch that go
Yes. I'm going to watch it, later that night after I've been on for
down.
14 hours and I'm supposed to be
Right.
getting sleep right now. No, I'm watching it while I'm taking a shit, while I'm eating, you know what I mean?
I'm
While,
watching.
before I'm
I'm
supposed to go to
watching.
bed, and I'm not sleeping because I'm up watching what the battles were, previous, in the high risk zone and other sectors, so
Because yeah, just as we further discuss it, I really think like because the
yeah.
people who aren't going to be there, which will be a majority of players, I feel like
Hmm.
they're not going to be able to even see it or experience it.
No,
Um,
they won't.
which so I really do hope we get some sort of camera crew to broadcast the greatness of that zone, and I think it also helped me kind of segue into another point of why Skull and Bones was formed. It was to
Yeah.
also provide an outlet for players to not be scared to go to the zone because I don't want these developers to make such a massive, amazing game and no one goes there, because they're just scared. So, something that we've also provided is a safe, I guess you could say, home for players to play in deep space as well, right? So
Hmm.
that's just another point there.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Now check it out. I'm looking at the Skull and Bones Discord, or not Discord, Twitter.
Hmm.
Skull and Bones DAO. Everybody, please go follow that if you're a pirate looking for a guild to join, and then also maybe tell us a little bit about this website that you're building out. What's that going to look like in the future?
Well, I would say also first, the best place to join us would be our Discord. Best way to
Of
reach out
course,
to us,
yeah.
right? It's just Discord/skull and bones. And what was the other question? It said you asked. I apologize.
No, no, about your website. What's that going to look like in
Website.
the future, and how's that process
Yeah.
going? Yeah,
Well, so since we're not paying anyone to do anything, right? Everything that's been done is of the crew's own volition, willpower, and interest to help the group. So our website's being designed by essentially one of my right hand men, Soul Walker. No one gives him a shout out. I want to give him a shout out right now. Soul Walker, you're the fucking man. So giving him a shout out. He's our bot master. He's the
boom.
officer, etc. He's been designing our website.
Okay, cool.
We're making it to be just sort of a home for people to get a better idea of who we are without joining the Discord. More of
Mm-hmm.
a front face for us. We will be uploading what we're going to be calling our dark paper soon, which will be
Okay,
more of an in-depth description of our guild, etc. It's going to have, I believe, we have an exchange marketplace similar to AEP where you can see the different prices of ships.
right.
Just sort of all the good jazz, and it will certainly develop over time. One of the concepts we were tossing around today is, since at our core, one of our biggest values is, everyone gets one vote per person. So we are working on designing a specific ballot system on our site where we can register and take votes and forms and remember these votes and go back and look at them, etc. So
Smart.
that's another great function we're working on. Merchandise, not that it's important, not that we care to make money, but we do
Mm-hmm.
have people interested to represent. So we are working on that as well. Like I
That's
said,
very
we are
cool.
not, our whole basis was never to shill. That's why we never made a Twitter in the beginning. We never did a website. We wanted to be as shillless as possible. But now that we've grown a little bit larger and we're receiving more interest, we think it's time to become a little bit more front faced. So this is the reason why we're becoming a little bit more outspoken, so to
Yeah, of
speak.
course, and I hope that I'm kind of on the low end, still finding my footing and still trying to get those subscribers and viewers on YouTube. So I hope this reaches as many people as possible and something they could look back on 5 years from now, like, hey, I remember that OG interview that he did with Bomber, and yeah, man, this is the place to chill. I'd love to, you know. Be able to allow you to do that, and it sounds like you're doing it, and that's really cool to see that you guys are growing a lot bigger because I think growth is important. You know it's awesome to see you manifest it from just a thought. 5 minutes in, like you said, you were like, okay, this role, this is my style, this is what I want to set up. You worked with the other guy, didn't work out too well, had a mutiny, brought your people that you brought in, he took his people, and here you are today, building and building. So it's important,
Yeah,
man.
it takes a lot of effort. It takes group camaraderie and it
Hmm.
takes a collective goal, right? So
It
all these
does.
things, I believe, Skull and Bones are providing for our crew, and why we've been able to continue to sustain and grow and be successful. Because, like I said earlier, a lot of people laughed us off in the beginning of the game, like, "Oh, it's never going to happen. How are you going to compete with these massive guilds?" I mean, hey, look, we're not ignorant to the fact. Do we have $25 million like club? No, but we're not going to not play the game because of them. So
Right.
I love to see that the environment has been developing to where players are exploring other non-linear paths to the game. Where
And we
they
got
are
we got 4 years till full game, right?
long
You
time,
know, you know how
long
much
time.
you know how much attention Star Atlas is gonna grab by that time. There's gonna be so many people coming. Once Eve gets a hold of this once these AAA games that have already been around catch wind of what's going on here, they're going to start picking and
Oh yeah.
filing into these guilds that
Mhm.
are already formed and established. Some of them might make their own. It might happen, but there's going to be an influx of players coming looking to be pirates, and by that time they're going to be joining your large group that's been hustling since the beginning. So it's only
Mhm.
a matter of time till people catch on to what's going on here.
Yeah, and just to touch on that also, we don't want to be the only pirates in the game. Like, just to be
Right.
clear, we want to inspire others to do their own thing, right? Be
Hmm.
original and creative, though. Please don't rip us. Don't rip our mo, because that has happened recently. And I'm not going to point any fingers, but just be original. We want other people to enjoy the game. Be creative. We will always give a home to anyone that wants to be a pirate, right? We're not saying don't join us, but we also
Hmm.
don't want to discourage other people from creating. Just wanted to make sure that was clear as well. But we will
Totally.
always have doors open for anyone interested in being a mud pirate.
Let me ask you this: if you could speak directly to the Star Atlas team, which is possible, but if they heard this one little clip, right? what would you like to see Star Atlas build into the game that is beneficial for pirates, or things that make sense for pirates? If you've ever thought about things like that.
Uh,
Obviously, we all have things that's like, hey, please do this so it benefits our guild. But you kind of
so
get what I mean. Like, what
yeah.
does a pirate guild want to see in a space game like this?
Well, I'm not speaking for everyone in my guild. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to speak for on short notice of this question, right? Of what I can think of at the top of my head of being really important of something I would like to know
Yeah.
is since we're dealing predominantly with player versus player, I would love to know what the uh, both the registration system and like hailing system would be, so to speak. So at what distance or where can I see another player? Can I see their guild? Do I know if can I see a flag on their ship? That's the I'll add that after. So essentially, how can I register another ship and know who they are? So my biggest thing would be is we need to be able to put our guild logos or DSC, however you want to call it, onto our ships. And then I think it needs to also be somewhat registered into the tag, whether that's your player tag or what have you. But there needs to be some way to register a ship at afar, which I'm sure there will be. But that to me was one of our biggest thoughts. And then
Okay.
second to that would be communication between ships that aren't friendly. Is that possible? Because not everyone wants to fight, right? Not some people will surrender, some people will fight, right? I want to give them the option at least. So I
Right.
think interspace, deep space communication, hailing systems, how you recognize another party, and then yeah, and that kind of alludes to we want to fly the black. Let me fucking fly this flag on my ship. So
Yeah.
that's really the only input I can think of off the top of my head, really quickly. I'm sure I could theory craft a fuck ton of other stuff that we would like, but
Yeah.
just in the sense of base information off the top of my head, yeah, I would be very curious to know how does deep space interaction work between two ships, given space is very fucking large. At what point do you register the other ship? How do you see them? How does that whole interaction work? Um, all that good jazz.
Beautiful, beautiful. Like, yeah, I think those are good points that got brought up. You mentioned the flag flying high. We're talking on Discord right now, but I'm streaming in Streamlabs OBS, and on the video, I got your picture. I got my Moon Man.
Hey,
I'm moving, but on the background video, you'll see it's just thundering and storming with the pirate flag in the back.
fuck yeah.
Skull and crossbones. So it's kind of cool. You'll see it. But yeah, man, I think those are good points that you bring up. Um, I think those
Yeah,
are things that
I
they
did have
should
one.
consider.
I did have one more comment. One of the crew. I asked some of the crew to say if they had any comments to discuss with you. One of our first mates, he wanted to bring up or raise the point that not only are pirates like sort of like they're adding a little edge to the game, but it's almost necessary also in effect for some of the merchanting and trading, right?
Hmm.
So it's just adding a whole nother element to the traditional structure of trades, because what the regular guilds are going to get and what we're going to get are going to be two entirely different assets, and we think that we're going to help contribute significantly to the overall sort of commerce of the game, right? We do believe we will have a strong role to play in that commerce, whether it be through smuggling, or just direct trade or what any route. We don't have really any fine lines there, considering we're pirates. So we are
Okay.
curious and interested to see how that develops as well. Inter guild trade, the entire system. Will there be a central marketplace? Is that a guild that runs that? Is it I'm so curious to know. So
Right. Totally, man. Well, hey, dude.
yeah,
I don't know if you want to leave the people with anything more, but I think we covered some good topics, and I definitely want to do this again in the future. I plan to continue to be here with the Moonman experience for a very long time, and I think it'll get really really exciting once that full game comes out. But as of right now, I'm just building relationships, talking to my friends, trying to get inside of the minds of some of these top players, top guilds here in the Star Atlas community, and I'm really glad that and fortunate that I got some time to speak to you, and looking forward to seeing all that you guys build out, and to see if that call out that you made to people out there in the community that somebody will start an Oni pirate guild. I'm wanting to see
I
if that
fucking
comes
hope
back.
so, man. I really do. Yeah, so I guess I would just like to leave it with I really appreciate you having us on the show. I say us because we're representing the guild.
Of
You're a
course.
cool dude. Looking forward to coming back again. Certainly do another interview later on, whenever you're free or whenever the time's right. I would like to let
Facts.
everyone know if you're interested in becoming a pirate, you have the heart for freedom. Fucking join us. We're here for you. We are the squad you want to be with. That's really all I got to say there. But we're welcoming you with open arms. So thank you again, though, Moon Man. We really appreciate it. Shout out from our guild to you. You're always welcome to hang with us. So
Hell yeah, man! Thank you, and yeah, everybody, please go follow them, support them. If you're a pirate, you know exactly where to go. I will have all the links to their Twitters, to their website that's being worked on in the future, mainly and most importantly, their Discord, where you can find Bomber and all his, all his homies and leaders in that Skull and Bones group. So please go follow him, show him support, and hashtag we are Star Atlas, man. This is fun.
fuck yeah. Thanks for having us, man. See you around soon.
Thank you. All right, everybody. You just listened to another episode of the Moon Man Experience. I had on Bomber, leader of the largest piracy guild in Star Atlas. If you're a pirate, links are in the description. You know where to find them. And hopefully, maybe you learn some things about what the future might look like for battling in that high risk zone. And yeah, thank you, everybody. This has been another episode. It was killer. I loved it. You guys take care.